All right, so let's get into this drive review now and see how the comfort between the XLT and the STX compare, as well as the performance and fuel economy of the 6.8 versus 7.3. Let's do this. It's little things like not having to pull your key out of your pocket to put the key in the ignition. You appreciate the XLT premium package a little bit more than the STX. The other thing I'm going to be looking for today is to see how's the interior comfort road noise versus the STX. Do we get any better insulation properties with the lower trim level? The other downside about the STX is if you want to raise or lower the seat position, you cannot do so. It is fixed in this truck. So you've only got so much adjustability depending on the people you have in your household. That might not be a fix. Plus, this just has your standard rear view mirror, no self-dimming. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go in and reset our fuel economy, and we're gonna go do our drive loop. Just in case you're wondering, we got engine temps all up to snuff. We're ready for this review. So I wanna thank Bob Maxxey here in Howell, Michigan for allowing me to do this review for you guys to compare the 6.8 to the 7.3. As I mentioned, I'll put Josh Wisniewski, his information down below. If you're interested in either one of these trucks, as I've mentioned in several other videos I've done with these guys for you all, is I highly recommend these guys. Me and my family and friends, we bought many vehicles from this small Michigan dealership. They seem to focus on trying to take care of people. I know we really appreciate it, and because of them, we're allowed to do this content for you guys today. With these heavy-duty gas trucks and diesels, there is no start-stop technology to talk about. So when you come to these stoplights, you're just gonna chug some fuel, not like the half tons or the mid-sized trucks or small trucks where they will shut the engine off at a light to conserve fuel. Let's get on the highway now and let's see how this thing accelerates into the on-ramp. We're gonna be really looking at RPMs and trans shifting. And without a struggle, we're on the highway doing 70 miles per hour, which is pretty impressive, honestly. I didn't notice any issue there power-wise. It felt, to me, it seemed a lot stronger than the old 6.2 back in the day, which is a good motor. But if this motor was made to replace the 6.2, it feels a lot stronger than that. Going down the highway right at the moment, we're about 72 miles an hour. And if we look at the RPMs, we're sitting at about, I'm gonna say 1,600 RPMs. Our roads here, as I mentioned before, are just terrible. So if you really wanna find out how bad a 1-ton single rear wheel truck drives and rides bumps, this is a great state to come and demo one at, because you'll see pretty rough roads and it'll bounce you around pretty good. The other thing I really like about this truck is how it shows the gear selection you're in on your menu in the middle. It shows you're in 10th gear. I really like that. I know these gauges are simple and basic, and some people that like more premium vehicles won't like it. But to me, I actually prefer this. I would actually take this in many ways over the highly digital gauge cluster, because I just think this is more simple and easier for me to work with. You know, for those that people think that you can't cruise in a heavy duty gas engine going down the highway, especially maybe in a 6.8, I'm here to tell you, no problem at all. This 6.8 goes down the highway effortlessly. Very impressed. Transmission shifting feels great. I don't notice anything weird there. It sounds good. I don't hear any powertrain weird noises. I'm gonna slowly step into the throttle, just ever so slightly, and see if I can get this thing to downshift. I don't know if it picks up in the video, but you could just hear a little bit louder gurgle in the exhaust, but it did not downshift, and I picked up 5 miles per hour right there. That's got that big block 7.3 feel, which I really like. Curious to see, after we do the mile per gallon loop, I'll do a little more spirited acceleration on this engine versus the 7.3 to see if we can tell a much difference as far as in the performance of the two. Getting off the halfway point, I'm really impressed with this truck so far. This would be a truck that I think I'd be really happy with. I do like some of the creature comforts of the XLT, like the passive entry and the center console shifting, but man, this is still a really nice truck. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago in the prior generation F1 or Super Duty, the STX, I had one, a 2020. It was nowhere near as nice in the interior and exterior as this truck. This truck looks a lot more expensive and premium on the outside than my old STX. My old STX didn't have fog lights in the bumper, didn't have a lot of the tech this has. Okay, at about 70 miles an hour on the highway right now, we're cruising, and we are literally getting almost 20 miles per gallon. Now we're heading downhill, so we'll have to do this at another spot, but that was not bad. So we don't have much of a grade here, but I'm gonna give you the grade that I do have, and we're gonna see if this thing has to jump out of 10th gear to climb. This is ever so slight, and I'm gonna even push into the gas a little, see if I can force it. I'm accelerating, guys, going up the hill, and it's holding 10th gear. That is awesome. I wasn't expecting that. I'm still speeding up. I'm gonna let out of the gas some. Very impressive, guys. I didn't know what to expect of this 6.8. And granted, I don't have 10,000 pounds pulling behind this truck, but just in an unloaded state, not bad. Not bad at all. I'm really curious now. I specifically want to start with the 6.8 first to see if I notice any difference jumping to the 7.3. All right, we're gonna pull back into Bob Maxxey. I'll be curious to see what we get for fuel economy on this truck. All right, we just pulled it in. There we go, guys. 15.8 miles per gallon for 17.8 miles. I don't think that's too bad, actually, and I'm really curious now when we do the 7.3 what we get for fuel economy. First thing I appreciate, push button start, heated seats, man. This is definitely, you definitely feel a nicer step up of interior on this truck versus the STX. STX is not bad. It's a high value truck, but for only a few $1,000 more, man, it really does feel a lot nicer. I'm curious too, this was an issue on the older trucks. Good to go, guys. Not noticing the squeak in the 24. All right, you can see we got our temps up to temp here. We're going to make sure this is in eco mode, and it is in eco mode. Kind of see down in the bottom the little leaf where it says northeast. I'll put it back into, where's eco mode? There we go. See a little leaf right there. All right, motor's warmed up. We are going to reset our gauges here, reset our fuel economy here, and we are going to reset our trip, and we're going to see what we notice different on the 7.3 truck and the XLT versus the STX. Be curious what comes through the steering wheel and the seat of the pants for power. I also very much appreciate the power seats. Kind of get the seating position set up a lot nicer for me in the XLT. For those of you wondering, seeing the tire pressure monitor light down in the dash, one of the sensors has to relearn, but the tire pressures are all very similar in both trucks, right around 55 PSI for front and rear with both trucks. Let's see how the 7.3 compares to getting up to speed as the 6.8. That was pretty effortless. The last one was pretty effortless also, but it did feel like this one did it a little bit easier. I'll have to go back and look at the footage and just see the RPMs we had on the entry with the 7.3 versus the 6.8. Now, I would expect the RPMs on the highway in 10th gear to be pretty similar. As you notice, the gauge cluster is quite a bit different looking on this truck versus the 6.8 truck, but both of them still show which gear you're in, which is nice. So far, what I can say, it's so smooth, it's almost boring. It wants to put you to sleep. This thing is just effortless going on the highway, no different than the 6.8. It's just very chill mannered. It'd be really fun to put about 10,000 pound trailers behind both these trucks and see how they do going down the road. The other thing that'd be interesting is get some, maybe one of our friends like JB to see the difference of a 7.3 towing at sea level versus at his elevation in Utah. There's a lot higher elevation, which the gas truck specifically would make a lot less power. I think he would think a 7.3 at sea level might be kind of impressive performance. One thing I noticed about the 7.3 truck versus the 6.8, it feels like the transmission has a little bit more of a defuel in between shifts. Like it feels not less smooth, I won't say that. It feels almost more industrial, whereas the 6.8 trans is so smooth. I actually, in full fairness, I actually liked how the 6.8 shifted a little more than this. This just felt a little more industrial and little less smooth, I guess would be the word, just because you could feel the in between the shifts a little bit more. Okay, we got same spot on the highway. Very similar, maybe 17, 18, whereas maybe the other truck, yeah, it's pretty darn close, guys. I'm seeing between 18 and 20 miles per gallon right here with the 7.3, and the 6.8 was pretty similar in this exact same spot. Last little hill, no problem. Accelerating up the hill, no issue at all. 7.3 is a beast. So far, the comfort between these two trucks, steering feel, brake feel, pedal feel, just generally the truck, they feel very similar. I don't feel anything weird that makes me like one more than the other. We're going to pull back into Bob Maxxey. Let's see what we got for fuel economy on the 7.3 liter Godzilla. All right, let's see what we got for fuel economy. 14.7 miles per gallon over the 18 miles. Not too bad. A little bit of a difference though from the 6.8. I'll have to go back and look at the footage to see, but I think we got about 1.2 miles per gallon less with the 7.3 over the 6.8. We're gonna put this thing actually in just the normal mode now. And we're gonna do a little bit more of a spirited drive. We're not gonna beat on it, but I'm really just curious to see if we notice much difference in the shifting and the fuel economy and the performance between the 7.3 and the 6.8 now that the fuel economy little trip is done. What I'm really looking for is to see the smoothness of the transmission and obviously the performance. And I'm gonna be really watching RPMs. Does one of these engines kind of make a little more power, or does it rev up a little easier or less easy? Smooth shifting. Got up to about 2,700 to 3,000 RPMs. Feels good. I don't see any issue. I mean, I've told you guys in videos in the past, the 7.3 feels great. All right, let's see how this shifts going this way. I'm just gonna get on it. Man, 7.3 feels strong. I mean, this thing runs really good. Hey, we're gonna go do that exact same little tiny loop with just 2 accelerations just to see, do we notice much difference in the 6.8 versus the 7.3? We're gonna put this in just the standard normal mode. How does the 7.3 compare to the 6.8? This is probably perceived, so I don't know if this is just me, but I swear in the interior of this truck versus the 7.3 I just got out of, I feel like you can hear the 6.8 a little more. I'm wondering 2 things. Could it be due to that little difference in the intake with that, it's like an NVH tube for like tuning intake sound that's shaped a little different for the 6.8 versus the 7.3? Or could the 6.8 or the STX have a little less interior NVH sound dampening, and so maybe the truck we just drove in the XLT is just a little bit louder, or sorry, it's a little bit quieter, and because of that, because a little bit more premium sound deadening in the insulation. I don't know. Let's see how this shifts and feels. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, in that acceleration right there, the 7.3 felt stronger. I could feel a difference. The 7.3 felt stronger. Intake sound sounds different too. 7.3 sounds a little better in the interior, and it did feel stronger accelerating right there. All right, let's see on the return how this thing feels and sounds. I'm gonna step into it a little. Okay, good power, no question. Some things I noticed right there. Tremendously noticeable difference in interior engine noise. I don't know if it's due to there's less insulation in the interior of this truck versus XLT, but that was 100% noticeable. And it almost sounded not like the engine. It almost sounded like just less dampening on the interior, like sound insulation. Power-wise, felt fine. Trans shifting felt good. I do think the 7.3 felt a little stronger though, which makes sense. It's a little more powerful. All right, guys, what's my takeaway? Well, in this particular configuration with both these trucks, I think the value and the win goes to the XLT. It's only a few $1,000 more, and when you're talking $65,000 versus $68,000, when you look at some of those premium features that you get in the XLT, I think it's worth it. Now, the engine upgrade. This is gonna be a big deal for you guys that are looking at the 2025s because that's the standard engine for 25. The 7.3 was the standard engine for 2024. What's my take on that? I would say it was closer than what I thought it was gonna be. I really thought the 7.3 was gonna stomp the 6.8. You know, I think it's because these trucks are so heavy that when you look at 40 or 50 horsepower, it's not gonna be a monumental difference. But when I did do that hard acceleration, it did feel a little bit better. It just felt like this thing had a little bit more low-end power. It'd be really fun to compare the torque curves of the 6.8 and the 7.3 below 3,000 RPMs and see what that gap is. The other thing I noticed, when I was driving the 6.8 when it was cold, it felt like from going from park to drive to reverse, it almost felt like there was a real delay. Like it wasn't a real fast back and forth. And I'm curious, do they do something different in the trans calibration of the 6.8 versus the 7.3, where the 7.3 felt like more like it was instantaneous, but both transes shifted really good. I didn't notice anything different there. With that all being said, the difference in fuel economy between the 6.8 and 7.3, in this particular case on this particular day, it was a little bit of a difference, a little over what, 1.5, 1.2 miles per gallon. That's almost a 10% difference. If you had a big company, we had a bunch of these trucks purchased, and you're looking to optimize efficiency and you don't need a 7.3, this might be a better move for you if you're trying to, you know, count your pennies and make the best ROI on your investment. The other thing too is if you had a big fleet of trucks, you talk $2,000, $3,000 less per truck, your guys don't care about some of the premium features of an XLT, it makes sense. And honestly, what I like about the STX package now for this new generation of trucks is the things like good headlights on a low grade truck. It's amazing, it's worth it. And it's a bigger advantage truck than the older STXs like I had back in the day. Now, to continue on this series of heavy duty trucks and comparisons, we're gonna add the third one of this, so you're gonna like the next video. Thanks for watching.